Hey, Mr. Hutch here. Thanks for joining us today. We are going to prepare you for your Tinkercad Keychain Challenge. All right, first step, open up Tinkercad on your app and go ahead and create a new work plane. We are going to title this, if you look, your first name. So I have Hutch, and then I want you to title it both, because this work plane is going to represent and show both pieces of your keychain. Now, this video is really meant for teachers and students to provide you with a challenge of creating a keychain without a lot of explanation as to how to do it. If you want to watch the other videos to learn how to do the movements and rotations and grouping and things like that, then I recommend going back to the playlist and checking that out. Otherwise, you're going to use and apply your skills to create your own keychain. Now, there are going to be just a few expectations and constraints put on you, but otherwise, yours does not need to look like mine. You can have different words, you can have different shapes, but as long as you stay within those parameters that I give you, then you're good to go. All right, so let's get started. First thing I want you to do is just go ahead and take a look at my design. I'm going to do a quick speed forward just so you can see a speedier version of what my process looked like, and then we'll break down a couple of the details. So you can take a look at that fast version sped up. Now, what I'd like you to do is understand, first of all, some of those expectations and constraints for this particular challenge. Number one, your overall area of one of the pieces, okay, not both combined, just one, cannot be more than 2,400 millimeters squared. Okay, and it has to be more than 1,500 millimeters squared. Now, I don't need you to, in a very precise way, figure out the area of your keychain. A close estimate is plenty fine. So, for example, if I look at mine, I can see that I know from my code up here that my width is exactly 35 and I know my length is 50. Now, I do have this extra cylinder that I grouped on there, but I'm not going to count all the little details. I can just look at this and go, all right, it added about 8-ish more. So I'm just going to say that my overall area is about 35 by 60. And so we'll calculate the area, and I know that I'm at 2,100, which is within that range, okay? So I'm good as far as area goes. You can't go below the 1,500, and you can't go above 2,400. Otherwise, you got to make some adjustments. All right, so that's the area expectation. If you need help with any other figuring out with unique shapes, then we can talk about that, or you can Google it or something. Next expectation is that you have one of these keychain holes, and it has to be an appropriate size. If it's too small and you can't fit like a key ring or something in there, then you didn't meet that expectation. The next thing is you have to have this engraved perimeter. So if you look on my screen, I'm moving my mouse around there. So this engraved perimeter, I'm going to change the angle so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, if you look at this angle, you can see how it goes in, almost like a little valley there. So this is going to be something that you're going to have to problem solve to figure out how I created that particular characteristic. So that is going in. So that's an engraving. The other expectation is that you have this embossing going on. And embossing means that it is sticking up out of the surface. So on this part of my keychain, I have text that is put on here, and it is embossed, meaning it is sticking up out of the surface of the keychain. Okay, and so if you look really carefully, you can see that I have my rectangle, and it's almost like I just have another rectangle within an empty space. So maybe that can get your brains going as to what happened there to create that feature. So that's what this particular one needs to have. Okay, so the area expectations, the keychain hole expectation, the engraved perimeter, or at least the appearance that it was engraved, and the embossed text sticking up out of the surface. Okay. All right. Now, moving over to your other keychain, your expectations with this are the same. Okay, so you're just going to, you can see my code on the left side here. All I did was I generated this main piece right here, the one that's solid, and generated all the code for that. And then I held my finger on the create new and allowed it to create that pop down, and then I hit duplicate, and then if you just tap create new, it'll duplicate that whole line of code for you, and then you can make your adjustments and tweak. A lot easier than retyping all the code. All right, moving back over here, let's finish talking about expectations, then you can get started on it. So this side, obviously it needs to be the exact same size as the other piece, and so that's why I duplicated it. Here's your expectations. Same thing. It has to have, this will have to have the exact same dimensions as the other piece because we are going to adhere those together somehow. And then you can see the same features. That perimeter that is engraved needs to exist. My keychain hole is there, and it lines up perfectly with the keychain hole on this particular, the other side. But this one, you need to have some sort of text, but it needs to be a hole going all the way through. Okay. Here's the thing, though. I don't care what your text says. You can see mine says the embossed side has my name on it, and the other side has our school there, or whatever you want to have. You can have whatever you want as your text. You just need to have those characteristics of embossed text and text that is grouped to create a whole. Now, I will say one thing. If your letters that you're using, okay, for example, an A or an O, has a piece in the middle that when we print, it has nothing holding it, so it's just going to fall out. You're going to have to figure out some way of how to keep that attached, okay? Those particular letters, like A's and O's, that have a little solid piece not surrounded by anything. So you have to be creative on that one. All right, that is your expectation with this, and then what I want you to do is you will finish that, get that all set, and then you're going to hit Tinkercad and go back to where all your different files are for that program. And what you'll need to do is choose Create New Code Block. That way you can get to this space here with the little cogs, and you are going to duplicate the Hutch both, your first name both titled one, by clicking the little cog, and that is right here, and then you'll click duplicate. Once you duplicate it, you can see it says copy of Hutch both. I'm going to go ahead and hit the cog again and hit properties, and I'm going to clear the copy of. I don't know why it does that. It goes every click, it goes back down. Super annoying. Here, I'm going to do it a different way. I'm going to click save. That way you can sort of see some of those weird things. Let's just open up copy of Hutch both. And up here, I'll change the name instead because the other way is sort of annoying. All right, now I have Hutch both. This one is going to be Hutch solid. Okay? Because when I create the STL file and send it to be printed, because I want the two to be different colors, I need to send the STL files separately. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit return. This is only going to be the solid one rather than both. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the second object and drag it to the trash can. Okay. Now when I hit save on this, it's only my solid one. Okay. And then I can actually just go to code blocks here, and I will again duplicate the Hutch both. Open it up because I know I can't change that easily in that window. And we'll let that one load up. And this one, when I change its name, it's going to be my first name. But this one is going to be Hutch Hole, the one with the grouped hole. That still is weird for me to say, Hutch Hole. That's odd. Anyway, I'm a little bit immature and childish sometimes. All right, so this is the one with the hole, so I want to get rid of the solid one. So I'm going to go up and trash my solid object. Make sure that I have what I need. There we go. There's my one with the hole. All right, so now that I have all of them separated, I have Hutch both, Hutch solid, Hutch hole. What I'm going to do is go ahead and do a screen recording of the both. Okay, and then I'm going to send and export the STL files of the solid and the hole so that we can get those printed. So this is what I mean by that quick explanation, and then your challenge begins. So here is my codes for both. I want you to make the windows so I can see both areas. Hit your zoom out button as much as possible for the codes. I know we won't be able to fit all of them, but just get that as best as possible. Turn the speed up here to medium, and I want you then to swipe down on your iPad and do the screen recording right here, which I'm already doing, so I can't do it twice. And hit start, tap off, and then once you see the red up there that it's recording, go ahead and, again, make sure it's on medium and hit play. That way I can see the steps that went on with your code, and then watch, I can actually move the code with my finger as I go so that I can see what's going on in your code block area as the code is being played out. Okay, and once you've ran that whole thing, then you'll tap the record button to stop that, and then you'll be able to share that with me to show that. Then you're going to click Code Blocks and open up your solid. And then what I want you to do, you can go fast speed and just hit play to get to the end here. And you're going to zoom in a good amount for me. And I want you to take a screenshot of that one and do the same for the one with the holes. And then we're going to hit export and export as an STL file. And then you're going to put that wherever your teacher tells me. And if I'm your teacher, that is going to be saving to files. Okay. And you're going to go to on my iPad, and you're going to create a folder. And if you don't have it, it's right there, called STL files. So you will click that and then hit save, and it'll save it into that folder so that we can upload it to the 3D printer later. All right, there's your challenge. Good luck, everyone.